All right, we're live. It's Thursday night, 8 o'clock, and I don't anticipate a lot of people coming on here tonight, but welcome to Living in Jacksonville channel. And the reason I'm saying that is because I think a lot of people, maybe I'm wrong if you're logging on, maybe I'm wrong, but I think a lot of people tonight, besides a lot of people being in summer vacation, which I'm about to go on for a little vacation myself, family vacation, a lot of people are going to be watching the presidential debate. But tonight, I decided to go ahead and touch upon the real estate market, especially for those watching this recording. It's June 27th, and certainly we've noticed a slight change in the real estate market finally, even here in Florida. We are not invincible. And so tonight I'm going to go over what I'm seeing in the market, but let's start out on a national level, kind of get the feel of what's going on nationally in the real estate market, what's going on in the local level here in Florida, and then what's going on here in my backyard. And there's a lot of different things going on. It's a very strange real estate market. It's not something we have witnessed before. It's just been a consistent ups and downs weekly. And so we're going to kind of get into that. I'm also going to talk about some of the listings I have, what we're doing to promote our listings as we start getting more inventory. And again, a very strange market. You have to be really priced properly to sell your home right now, and you have to have a great home. And I'm trying to think to myself, is this market the new normal? Is this what it's always been? It takes a while to sell a home. Houses don't sell in 48 hours. Because the reality is we still have a shortage of homes. I have a lot of folks that are relocating in the Northeast region, and some of them are needing to sell their home to purchase or build a home here in Northeast Florida to relocate. And some people are selling them in 48 hours still. We have folks I had in New York, Boston, or suburbs of Boston, certain areas where they're still selling their houses in 48 hours. We've had a few houses here in Nocatee where multiple offer situations and houses sold in 48 hours. Then we have other homes that have just been sitting on the market. As the pricing is readjusted, I think people are getting used to the new normal. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And then, of course, just like I said, a lot of people are going to be watching this first presidential debate tonight. I think a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines saying, should I wait or not? But regardless, in real estate, whether you're have the ability to wait or not, life happens. So for all my listings, again, I think I've mentioned in the past, I have some people that are downsizing, I have some people that are upsizing, and I have some people that are relocated for work. And those are my listings. Those are real life situations here in Nocatee. The other big effect that we have here in Northeast Florida is, of course, we have a massive new construction market, and that's a great, massive portion of my business. And so, there are a ton of incentives depending on the community, depending on the builder, how much inventory they have. So, and the reality is that a lot of people that are sitting on the sidelines, depending on your needs or whatnot, this is the time to go against the grain of the rest of society, really focus on your needs and go, can I get a deal here? And believe it or not, even though there's a lot of inventory and there's a lot of incentive, still some builders you're not willing to completely negotiate. It has a lot of different variables involved with that, specifically the house, the options, especially in quick move-ins. Those are what you can negotiate on. If builders are holding inventory and it's done and it's ready now, those are the ones you can negotiate on. And so, we put some offers today and they were not accepted. So some people are still holding out. I have a few listings and we're being aggressive and trying to market the property with different options for buyers that are actually great deals. I mean, I have one of my sellers that actually considering seller financing, which I'll show this tonight too. So really quick, if you're watching and you want to go ahead and put in the comments where you're watching from, that'd be really cool. I'd love to know where you're watching from. If you have any questions, it's totally interactive. I'm not going to go too long tonight because I do want to log on and see the first debate. I think a lot of people are really considering what's going to happen here in the fall with the elections and how that's going to affect the economy, the real estate market. We have a lot of things going on in the world, but at the end of the day, we still have a housing shortage, and I'm about to show you why right now. A lot of people are waiting for that. And then there's other people who are just hoping the interest rates will come down. And the reality is we don't know when interest rates are going to come down. There's all this talk that it's election year, interest rates should go down. I've talked to some of my banking friends, and some people are, yeah, we should see one real drop by the end of the year. But all we're seeing is it fluctuate between the 7s and the higher 6s. And so we really don't know. I'm not dependent on rates. So some of these incentives with new construction, we're seeing a lot of incentive money on certain builders in certain communities here, from Nocatee to Rivertown. And I'll tell you what, some of those incentives are well enough money to cover your closing costs and buy down your rate from 7% down to the high 5s. And that's a fix, not a 3-2-1 buy down. That's a 30-year fix where I've had clients or buyers purchase homes right now with such a massive incentive with it that they've been able to buy down their rates below 6%, which means most likely they won't be refinancing for a while, because I don't think we're going to see rates in the 4s and 5s anytime soon. So those are some beautiful options. And if you have the ability, you can do so. So let's go ahead and let me share my screen, and hopefully I can figure this out. I'm a tech-hearted person sometimes when it comes to this, but let me show you some really interesting articles that I have here today prepared. First one is, let's go ahead and see, let's focus on Florida here, right? So, how is this looking on my screen? Okay, so I read this article here today, and it was saying that Florida cities see increasing housing supply. We're seeing our inventory go up. That's exactly right. They say Orlando and Jacksonville are among the Florida cities breaking the national trend of housing supply deficiency. So basically what we're saying is a major trend of housing deficiency in the U.S. And Orlando and Jacksonville is probably the two cities in Florida where we're seeing a lot of inventory because of the new construction. Now, keep in mind also, I want to reiterate, Northeast Florida, Jacksonville area has some of the lower home insurance in the country. Everybody calls me and they're so surprised because Florida has such a reputation of being a hurricane state that we have high insurance rates, home insurance rates, which is absolutely right. And we also have high car insurance. But that's not the fact for Northeast Florida, and I'm sure certain parts of Central Florida are not as bad as well because we're not as prone to hurricanes. Now, you can argue that all you want, but insurance companies obviously have underwriters. They don't just go ahead and charge what they want. They do heavy studies based on where historically most of the Category 3 hurricanes and above have hit, and it's usually in the panhandle with warmer waters that make hurricanes stronger, from the west Florida all the way to southeast west Florida all the way to northeast Florida, and then of course southeast Florida also subductal hurricanes. Up here in northeast Florida, not so much, and of course Orlando, Central Florida, not as much either. Certainly that makes a huge difference because insurance rates are massive in the rest of Florida. So that's one of the big things. So it says here, no secret, the U.S. housing market has been hot in recent years, has continued in 2024, despite mortgage rates staying close to 7% so far. Again, we don't know whether they're going to go down or not. Everybody's hoping that we'll see it, but I've talked to some of my banker friends, and I've heard maybe one actual rate reduction this at the end of the year. Again, what does that mean? How much? That's the question. The hot housing market during the COVID pandemic was coupled with construction boom, thanks in part to subsequent shortage of supplies. Construction was delayed in some areas, while most rebounded. Newly released data from Zillow shows that the U.S. still doesn't have enough housing, and it's only getting worse. We have a lot of folks, and again, I'll show you another article I read here. We have a lot of folks that are renting right now, and rents are being raised, and housing is becoming unaffordable. They are being squeezed, and so people are like, well, I'm going to wait for this crash or whatnot. I'm like, we have a housing shortage. Take advantage of what options you have, specifically in the Orlando, Jacksonville area, where we have definitely have a lot of inventory and a lot of incentives. I wouldn't wait. I would go against the grain. Always do with the rest of the opposite of what people are doing. You know, I always say, Warren Buffett said, be greedy or be fearful when others are greedy, be greedy when others are fearful. So this is really, to me, the times like this are the times to take advantage. Overall, Zillow estimates released Tuesday show the U.S. housing deficit has reached 4.5 million, according to the most recent data from 2022. That's an increase from 4.3 million in 2021. They said two contributing factors: the numbers of family likely to be looking for their own home and number of homes available to buy or rent. Zillow reports at any given point in 2022, there were more than 8 million potentially preferring to live on their own, but only about 3.5 million vacant homes for sale or rent. The simple fact is there's not enough homes in this country, and that's pushing homeownership out of reach for too many families. Senior economist at Zillow explained in a press release, adding the event's renters are being cost burdened. We are in a big hole, and it's going to take more than the status quo to dig ourselves out of it. So some of the metro areas in the country that find themselves worse off than others. Those along the Pacific and Atlantic coast are seeing the greatest impact. According to the report, 10 cities with the worst shortages were Boston, which I had a family that were able to sell their house in 48 hours in a suburb of Boston, Sacramento, Portland, San Diego, San Francisco, San Jose, Seattle, Minneapolis, Los Angeles, and Austin. Some of those places, I don't know why you want to live there, but no offense if you live there. Austin and Seattle, however, also ranked among the markets that saw the largest increases in housing supply in 2022. Joining those cities in that trend were Orlando, Jacksonville, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Raleigh, Nashville, and Phoenix. And again, all these cities they're mentioning here, including Orlando and Jacksonville, are all cities that people are moving to for sure. Certainly great areas. I know Houston, San Antonio, there's a lot of new construction in the suburbs of these cities. A lot of people are moving to Raleigh, Tennessee for sure. Phoenix, no doubt, from all my people from the West Coast. So unsurprisingly, the nation's two largest cities, New York and Los Angeles, have the largest estimated housing shortages, roughly at 390,000. Of the 50 metros analyzed by Zillow, Memphis, Tennessee had the lowest overall shortages at slightly more than 3,300. So there's signs of hope in the horizon. However, Zillow points to U.S. Census Bureau data, which found roughly 1.45 million homes were completed in 2023. That's up from 1.4 built in 2022. So again, builders are building a lot of homes. We're seeing a lot of incentives on homes that are already built, quick move-ins. But I think if the rates were to go down, I think that's going to change. People are going to jump back into the game. There's still a lot of people looking. I still have calls from people. I always tell people whether you're moving 90 days, 90 days, 180 days next year, call me. Let's start planning now. And people are being proactive and reaching out now. So you really have to make sure that you're fulfilling your needs, making sure that there's potentially a home that could work for you that's a quick move in, and then also take advantage of what incentives are available. And I can lead you to that. If you call me, I can certainly lead you and guide you in those areas. Let's see. Mortgage rates have also eased in the U.S., dropping last week to 6.95, down from 6.99 prior week. So again, the rates have been going up and down, and I can show you that in a bit. So let's go ahead and let's see if this is working here. Here's the next article I read, which I thought was very interesting. Hey, Kathy, watching from Jacksonville, Florida. Thanks for watching, Kathy. Appreciate it. Good to see you on here. Let's see here. Let's talk about this article I read from the New York Times. Actually, one of my clients showed me this one. Let's see here. How do I share this one? Present. This is a very interesting article for sure. So if you can see this, the title is here, the housing market is weird and ugly. These 5 charts explain why. Income needed to buy, share of new homes, change in rent, new construction, existing home sales. So the housing market is weird and ugly. These 5 charts explain why. They've held up better than expected amid interest rates, but that doesn't mean the housing market is healthy. When the Federal Reserve began raising rates in 2022, most economists thought the housing market would be the first to suffer consequences. High borrowing costs would make it more expensive to buy and to build, leading to reduced demand, less construction, lower prices. They were right at first. Construction slowed, but then picked up. Prices hiccuped, then resumed their upward march. Higher rates made homes harder to afford, but America still wanted to buy them. The result is a housing market that is different and stranger than one described in economic textbooks. Parts have proved surprisingly resilient. Other parts have seized almost completely, and some seem perched on a precipice at risk of tumbling if rates stay high too long or if the economy weakens unexpectedly. There's also stark divides. People are locked in lower rates before 2022, have in most cases had their home values soar, but have been insulated from higher borrowing costs. Those who don't already own, on the other hand, have often had to choose between unaffordable rents and unaffordable home prices. And the situation is nuanced. Homeowners in some parts of the country face skyrocketing insurance costs, which we just talked about. Here in Florida, we have massive skyrocketing insurance costs. Still fantastic up here in Northeast Florida. I love it because everybody who comes to Northeast Florida are looking at Nocatee. They're always looking at Lakewood Ranch and the Sarasota region. And right off the bat, I tell you, your home insurance is not the same over there on the Gulf Coast. Rents in some cities have moderated. Builders are finding ways to make new homes affordable for first-time home buyers. That's called the incentives that I'm talking about, where people are not only buying down the rates for 1, 2, 3 years, they're actually using incentive money as much as the bank will allow for them to buy down rates enough for fixed rates for a 30-year fixed rate. No indicator tells the full story. Rather, economists and industry experts say understanding housing market requires looking at an array of data, shedding light on different pieces of the puzzle. So number one, it's hard to find a home. The rapid rise in interest rates push down demand for housing, but making it more expensive to borrow. It's also led to a big drop in supply. Many owners are holding on to their homes longer than they would otherwise because selling would mean giving up their ultra low interest rates. The rate lock phenomenon has contributed to a severe shortage of homes for sale. It's not the only factor. Home building lagged for years before the pandemic, and retired baby boomers have been choosing to stay in their homes rather than moving to retirement communities or downsizing to condominiums, as many housing experts had expected. Many economists argue that the lack of supply has helped keep prices high, particularly in some markets, although they disagree about the magnitude of the effect. What is certain is that for anyone hoping to buy, finding a home has been extremely difficult. And I'd like to reiterate, specifically here in Northeast Florida, I don't think finding a home has been difficult. Well, finding an affordable home has been maybe a challenge, but finding the right home, okay? Because I don't always believe in just buying a home to buy a home. It's all about location. I'm always looking out for my buyer's best interest. If I wouldn't buy a home, or if there's issues in the house I don't like, I express my opinion on that. But again, my opinion may not be your opinion. It may be better from where you're coming from. But finding the perfect home at the right price can be challenging, but there are some deals. We are very fortunate here in Northeast Florida, and I guess also in Orlando as well, because I know agents over there that are killing it still. And I've had the craziest year ever, even more so than last year. So it is 100% evident there are areas where people are relocating because we have the inventory thanks to new construction. Let me make sure this is showing here. Number two, homes are unaffordable. I just talked about that. Home prices already high, soared during the pandemic, rising more than 40% nationally from the end of 2019 to mid-2021. And the S&P CareLogic Case-Shiller Price Index, they've been risen more slowly since then, but they haven't fallen as many economists expected when the Fed started raising interest rates. I think we all expected home prices to fall. I definitely can say that between 2019 and 2021, and I think I've said that even up to 2022, if you were building a home and you bought at the peak after COVID and you were trying to sell now, it's hard for you to get out of a home because you're competing on a resale, because you're competing with all these builder incentives. So if you're in a community that has builder incentives and you built during those times, then you could be having a problem selling right now. Okay. And life happens. Some people may have to sell. Some people may have lost a job. There's different things. So if that's you, go ahead and make that in the comment for anybody who's watching. If you're experiencing that, well, maybe no one wants to admit that, but that's happening. There are some people going, I need to get out of this house, and I'm competing against new construction. So rising interest rates have put some prices even further out of reach for many buyers. Someone buying a $300,000 house with 10% down payment could expect to pay $1,100 a month on a mortgage in late 2021 when interest rates on a 30-year fixed was about 3%. Today, with rates at 7%, that same house is going to cost $1,800 a month. Okay, good luck finding a house around here for $300,000. You can find a townhome for $300,000, and that's why D.R. Horton is killing it, pushing out townhomes between $200,000, $350,000, depending on what neighborhood it is. But average home around here, where I'm going to show you that in a minute, it's going to be anywhere between $450,000, $650,000, even up to $800,000 if you're here in Nocatee. So can you imagine with these interest rates, why it's become unaffordable? And that's why some people are being priced out. I sent out my newsletter on Wednesday. If you'd like to receive my newsletter, I said that a lot of people have been priced out of Nocatee per se, because it's just become unaffordable. And so far, we haven't seen a ton of builders budging on pricing at all. So it really depends on the community. If you go out further west, definitely some better options out there. So let's talk about economists have different ways of measuring affordability, but they all show the same thing. Buying a house, particularly for first-time buyers, is further out of reach than any point in decades or even ever. Zillow shows typical household buying a median home with 10% down could expect to spend more than 40% of their income in housing costs, well above the 30% that financial experts recommend. And in many cities such as Denver, Austin, and Nashville, never mind the long-time outliers like New York and San Francisco, the numbers are much worse. So I'm finding a lot of people from New York, New Jersey, all places where they have really high property taxes. And I don't know, I don't live there, but I mean, people are like, there's taxes for the air you breathe up there. So not only unaffordable, they're being taxed to death. So people are just saying, hey, you know what? I'm fed up of this, working, mom and dad are both working. That's what me and my wife both work. And 40% of our income goes in housing costs and expenses, all this inflation going on. So it really is frustrating. Then add in places like New York and New Jersey, where people are fleeing because the taxes in general are just too much. So that's what we're seeing, a lot of stuff coming together here all at once. Number 3, new homes are filling some of the gap. Perhaps the most surprising development in the housing market over the past 2 years has been resilience of new home sales. Absolutely. 80% of my sales, I would say 78% of my sales is new construction right now. So developers are typically struggle when interest rates rise because of high borrowing costs drive away buyers while also making it more expensive to build. But this time around, with so few existing homes available for sale, many buyers have been turning to new construction, and many big builders were able to borrow when interest rates were low, have been able to use the financial firepower to buy down interest rates for customers, making their homes more affordable without needing to cut prices. Again, this is what we see happening. Certain national builders, even here locally, they have additional incentives at certain time of the year. It's like a national pot, if you will, that they have, that were able to offer to all their markets of that builder additional incentives for them to make their numbers that month, year end. It just happened at the end of May with Rivertown here in St. Johns County. Again, a lot of builders like Richmond, national builders have the ability to buy down the rates. They have a big pot. They say, hey, to their salespeople, hey, listen, guys, if anybody comes in, let them know that we have X amount of $1 million in incentives to buy down the rate for a 30-year fix. Have at it. And once the pot runs out, that's it. So you have to be ready for those times to get that additional funding. I've had someone that closed early May or end of May that were able to take advantage of that. It's a massive incentives because the closing costs of new construction, you bear all the costs when you purchase new construction. It's not like resales. So the new construction closing costs are high. But the incentives can be used to buy down the rate on a 30-year fix. So that's some really interesting strategy that you should be using if you're in the market, you're sick of paying rent, and you still have the ability to purchase. affordably. I don't recommend being 40% of your income, but we're seeing people doing it because they're sick of paying rent. They want to get out of certain areas where they're being taxed to death. They're like, hey, I'm going to benefit on no income tax here in the state of Florida. It's worth it for me. Private developers in May broke ground on new homes at the slowest rate in nearly 4 years, the Commerce Department said on Thursday. So yeah, we're seeing it here in June. I have 3 listings. I'll go over that now. We're not seeing as much traffic right now, and we're all trying to figure out what's going on exactly. And I think it's because some people are waiting to see what happens with the elections. Some people are just priced out and said, hey, I'm waiting. And some people are just on vacation right now, and I'm leaving on Saturday. Hallelujah, a little vacation time with the family. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but there are still a lot of people that are needing houses too. Rents are unaffordable too. So here you go. Rents skyrocketed in much of the country during the pandemic as Americans fled cities and sought space, and they kept rising as the strong labor market increased demand. Now, here in Noctia, rents have always been high. I have seen rents going down as there's been more rents, but people that are renting are usually folks that bought during that COVID era or built a home during that COVID era. They had to relocate. They can't sell their home for what they paid for it, and they don't want to lose money, so they're trying to cover it with rent, and the rents are really high based on their mortgage payments, CDD fees, insurance, et cetera, et cetera. And so we're seeing a lot more rent. So we are seeing a little bit of the rent prices go down, but still people don't want to spend $3,400, $3,600 a month to live in a 1,900 square foot 4-2 squeezed in. People don't want to waste their money on rent anymore. They're sick and tired of it. They want to be in their own home. So rising rents helped fuel an apartment building boom, which has brought a flood of supply to the market, particularly in southern cities like Austin and Atlanta. And that's led rents to rise more slowly, or even to fall in some places. So apartments a little different. We don't have as many apartments, but that's definitely a good option here as well. If you're looking to rent and you don't want to spend too much money, we do have apartments here that are good options. But not everybody wants to live in apartments because they're like, if you're on the second, third floor, I was telling people, I know there may not be elevators, but don't take the first or second floor because God willing, if you have an animal or a kid above you, you're going to hear them banging on your roof until for a whole year until you finally get your house built or until you finally decide to purchase a home. All this has produced a rental affordability crisis that keeps growing worse. A record share of renters are spending more than 30% of their income on housing. Harvard's Joint Center for Housing Studies studies found recently, and more than 12 million households are spending more than half their income on rent. Affordability is no longer just a problem for the poor. The Harvard report found that rent is becoming a burden, even among many households earning more than $75,000 a year. It's crazy. We're talking about inflation. Everything is just becoming unaffordable, and so it's really hard to watch. It really is. A shift may be underway. Okay, what does that mean? For much of the past 2 years, the housing market, especially for existing homes, has been stuck. Buyers can't afford homes unless either prices or interest rates fall. Owners feel guilty, pressure to sell, and aren't eager to become buyers. And that's true. A lot of people are scared about selling because then they're like, where am I going to go? So, and there's the logistics challenge too. Moving is become so expensive. All my people that are relocating, unless they rent their own truck and move down, the cost of moving trucks and everything is outrageous as well. So not only are you selling your home, if you're not building, you're trying to find a resale and then logistically overcome the challenge of selling your home, getting money, being able to pay for the movers and finding a rental, or being lucky enough to find a resale or and move from one home directly into the resale. More commonly, I'm seeing people renting and then building. So they sell their home, they rent for a little while, and they're expecting their new build to be done, because some of these new builds are only taking 9 months right now. They really are flying through them for making year ends and whatnot. So we've seen the builds moving pretty quickly over here in Northeast Florida. What could break the logjam? One possibility is lower interest rates, which would bring a flood of both buyers and sellers back to the market. But with inflation proving stubborn, rate cuts don't appear imminent. Yeah, I don't see it. We've been talking about it for a while now. I feel like this is the new normal. And some days when I look at my listings and everything, and people are like, man, the house has been on the market 20 days, 40 days. It used to be like that 5 years ago, where a house, unless it was like an absolute unicorn, it sat on the market. But we do have homes here that have sold and with bidding wars in the last 48 hours, very far and few in between. But when they're priced correctly and the house is staged properly, even here in Nocti, we've had a few bidding wars that have sold in 48 hours here in the last week. Another possibility is more gradual return to normal as owners decide they can no longer put off delayed moves and become more willing to cut a deal, and as buyers resign themselves to higher rates. Okay, so I have a few listings tonight. I'm going to tell you what we're doing to incentivize buyers to come and purchase these homes. As I said earlier, these are all homes that are for sale that people are downsizing, upsizing, or relocating for work. So they're incentivized to sell because life happens. And we're doing some really cool things. And these are what you as a buyer should be looking at right now. I said, don't jump into the market. Don't, hey, Greg, I need to buy a house. There's got to be a deal out there. No, let's work through it. There are options. There's incentive monies with builders, depending on what your wants and needs are. And there are sellers that are marketing and doing things that if you are there at the right time, if it's priced right, and we're even seeing now seller financing, which I'm going to mention tonight here as well. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So hang on. There's signs that maybe beginning to happen. More owners are listing their homes for sale and more are cutting prices to attract buyers. And I can show you evidence of that. I am one of the listing agents. We have been reducing prices and offering incentives. Builders are finishing more new homes without a buyer lined up. Real estate agents are sharing anecdotes of empty open houses and homes that sit on the market longer than expected. Hardly anyone expects prices to collapse. The millennial generation is in the heart of home buying years, and meaning demand for homes should be strong, and years of underbuilding mean that the country still has too few homes by most measures. And because of the homeowners have plenty of equity and lending standards have been tight, there is likely to be a wave of forced sales, and this there when the housing bubble burst nearly 2 decades ago. But that also means that affordability crisis isn't likely to resolve itself soon. Lower rates would help, but it'll take more than that for homeownership to feel achievable to many younger Americans. So there you have it, folks. I'm a prime. Those articles, normally I would say, oh, you never know with the media and everything, but this is very accurate. I'm experiencing it in the market. So I believe it. It's certainly 100% accurate. And I don't always say that about the media. Okay. So let's talk about the market a little bit here. Let me see here. So we're going to go ahead and go to the MLS. Again, if anybody has any questions, I don't see any questions. But I'll go ahead and look at some of the analytics here in MLS. Let's get back to this. Share screen again, present. Let's see, which one do I want? Yeah, so let's go ahead and share the weekly trends for sure. So this is weekly trends, median sales price. And this is just to show you the evidence. If you look at these charts, I mean, seriously, from June 24th, it goes down to 360, then up to 380, then down to 360, then down to 359. I mean, 370. I mean, if you look at the market, it's just zigzagging up and down, big drop here in May. It's just all over the place and it's dropping again. And it's really, truly felt that way, where so much so, a lot of people go, well, I think the market's going to crash, or I'm waiting for a big market correction. The problem is it's always about supply and demand. And unfortunately, a lot of parts of the country doesn't have a massive supply. And so because we're here in Northeast Florida and the home insurance rates are lower, our property taxes are getting up there now, but not as bad as Jersey, New York, California, some of these other states. So people are like, man, it is more affordable over there. And I had a conversation with folks today in Kentucky, and they're like, man, how's the job market there? And I'll say, we have a great job market. Our salaries may not be comparable in certain fields as other states, like Nevada, nursing, school teachers in New York, all those experiences I've had. But we have a robust job market, and people are getting jobs. I had people that moved down here from PA, finally got in their home today. Congratulations. They, got a job in property management because we have so much construction, development, and commercial going on here. There's just so many job opportunities. So the pays may not be comparable where you're coming from, but we have a good job market. So if Northeast Florida has lower insurance rates, we have new construction with incentives, and we have a good job market, Jacksonville is so underrated. And that's why I keep still getting calls every week. So yeah, people are a little gun shy. We're not having as many people through open houses or not. People want that price correction. They're shopping. They want to see blood on the streets. And there may be in some cases, I don't know. I'm not there with any buy sellers. There's no extreme worries there. Everyone has a lot of equity. So we're just getting creative in marketing. And if you look at these squiggly lines going up and down, and we're going down right now, who's to say? We're all saying, hey, you know what? July is going to be a great month, and this is going to start going trending upward again. And we always say July here in Northeast Florida because really school starts in August in this area, especially St. Johns County. So you really need to be in your house. You need to be bought or purchased or rented a home in July if you want to register your kids for school starting in early August. So a lot of people are saying a lot of people are going to hop back into the market in July, or at least maybe hop into a rental for now if they're still gun shy and they can't find what they're waiting for, what they're looking for. So again, this is what the trends look week by week. It's up and down, and it has really felt that way. So much so that like us real estate professionals that are very busy, and there's a lot of real estate professionals out there that are hurting right now. And I tell you, with loving kindness, do your due diligence. If there are agents that you're talking to that you were referred to by a family member, a friend, or whatnot, make sure that they are doing a lot of business, because if they're not doing a lot of business right now, they are not going to have your best interest at heart. They're not going to be fulfilling their fiduciary responsibility because they want a sale. It's just common, natural human sense. So before you are referred to your buddy's aunt, sister, whatever, ask them, how many deals did you close this month? How many deals did you close last month? How many deals did you close this year so far? We're in June. If they haven't closed more than 2, 3, or 4, they're not going to have your absolute best interest in place because they need to sell a house to make commission to live. So I'm not trying to tell you, hey, don't purchase from them or whatnot. I mean, I'm just saying be aware in the market with anybody that has desperation that they're not going to be taking your best interest. That's why when I deal with people, I'm like, look, people, I'm going to give it to you straight. This is what I would do. I always say I'm Italian, Scots, Irish. My opinion always comes out and bleeds. But you know what? I'm never going to, if I wouldn't do it, I'm not going to advise you that way. And my opinion doesn't always matter. And it may not matter to you, but you want someone to be straightforward and looking at your best interest, making sure that your expectations are completely met up front before you sign on the dotted line. Okay. So again, be careful out there. It is a great time to be house hunting right now as a buyer. I believe it's a buyer's market, and that is when you have 5 months in 4, 5, 6 months of inventory. And I think we're in a new normal market. So I hope people are okay with that, because that's where we're gone. Okay, let's see. What can we do here? How can I get on this? Should we look at other trends? No, let's go ahead and let me get, I already blew through, how many minutes have I been on here already? 38 minutes. And I want to knock this out because I do kind of want to see this debate a little bit. I'm not going to get into politics, but if anybody's watching, hold your comments. You're probably watching anyway, so I don't have to worry about that tonight. Let's click out of this. If you want to know any market information very specific to this area, I'll be more than glad to share that with you. The mortgage rates, I was going to show that tonight, but it's constantly changing so much that it's annoying to keep showing interest rates because it's a constant up and down game, really. Mortgage rates. There you go. I go to Mortgage News Daily, and as you can see here, it's been massively up, and then come all the way down below sevens, back up, back down again. So it's just been a roller coaster, really depending on what product you're shopping for here. We're in the sevens, and like I said, we're seeing people buy down rates a point and a half, even for a 30-year fix. So just been a complete up and down yo-yo. Has a nice little mortgage calculator here that hopefully you don't get rerouted to a bank. If you're looking for a preferred lender, certainly you want a good real estate professional like yourself that have at least 2 or 3 people that have your best interest to make sure that you're getting into the right loan for you. I want to go ahead and show you the listings and what we've done here to market to our buyers. Let me see if I can log in here. Bear with me. Let's see if I can get this on here. Share screen, stop, remove. There we go. All right, so this is what we're doing. I'm not going to spend too much time in here unless anybody has some questions, what you want to see. So this is an example where I have 3 current listings myself, and I've been sitting in on open houses myself because, again, being in the market, I can get a real feel for what's going on. So let's see here. Can you all see that okay? Let's make sure y'all can see this. You can. Okay, great. All right, so I have 3 totally different listings up here. They're my listings. I have a really cool, so one of my areas I specialize in all of St. Johns County, all the way out to Rivertown, but I live in Nocatee, so I certainly specialize in this area. I'm a huge fan of it. I'm totally biased because of the location and how amazing this master plan community has been over the last decade. It's coming to an end here in the next couple of years. Proximity to the beach, the community, so many great things about it. I love living here, raising my kids here. I can't talk enough about it. And it's also established because it's coming to an end here. So I like that about that. Just so many things. If you haven't watched all the rest of my videos about Nocatee, what's so great about it, all the information you can ever imagine, I've been making them for 2 years. So make sure you check them out on my channel. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And then finally, here we go. So this house is in Town Center. It's listed at $589,000. It's 1,876 square feet. It's 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 2 car garage. Listed around $313 a square foot. Been on the market about 15 days. Beautiful, clean home. Totally done up inside. It's on a gorgeous little park. It has wood floors, carpeting, and wood floors, carpeting, and tiles. Cute little porch area. It reminds me of being like in Nantucket or whatnot. And again, 589 grand. See that beautiful little sitting area, courtyard, park in the front, right there in Town Center. So really the type of buyers, first-time home buyer, maybe an empty nester who's looking for a single story or a retiree or whatnot. No maintenance for this home. You can just shut it up and leave easily. And it has a beautiful dining area, bedrooms, clean bathrooms. Everything is just spotless on this home. Awesome open kitchen, gas stove, refrigeration, and washer and dryer included. When you buy new construction, you will not have a washer and dryer or refrigerator included. It should be, but it is not. You have the blinds, you have gutters, we have security cameras on this house. Everything you can want in a new home, the tray ceilings, all the upgrades. There's a list of like 30 something upgrades. And again, a phenomenal opportunity. Almost new carpets, like I said, washer and dryer. just a cute little lanai area, screened in, fans, everything. When you buy new construction, that stuff is all extra after the fact. So huge master, double vanity bath with the shower, really spacious. And again, 2-car garage, all in walking distance of all the stores, restaurants, and everything in Nocatee. So a great option to get into Nocatee. Certainly had a lot of traffic through on this. And again, a lot of people are viewing it, a lot of saves, but no offers yet. But again, if interest rates go down or anything like that, something like this would be snapped up like that. So really clean, awesome option. So opportunity. So here we go with my another listing that's a little bit higher price point, and these are all 3 different buyer profiles that we're talking about for a house like this. Let's see here. No other questions. I'm just checking in to see if there's any other questions. Okay, so this one's really cool. This is an interesting one that I have to say we got creative in our marketing efforts. This is folks that decided to upsize to a bigger home. And this home is only a couple years old. It's practically new. They spent massive money on landscaping. This is a Sylvester tree, all the landscaping. It has plantation shutters. I mean, you name it, it has. It has the upgraded appliances, gas stove. Let me stop talking about it. Let's look at it. Really incredible home. I really can't believe that no one has at least put an offer in. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, listen, guys, if you're in the market to buy a home or whatever, at least go out there. I told my people, my buyers today, I'm like, let's make some offers. And we did, and they weren't accepted, but that's okay. They weren't accepted yet. Okay. Again, fully upgraded chef's kitchen, quartz countertops, really nicely done home, a beautiful little island here. So many great options in this home, really nice high-end refrigerator, washer and dryer included, farmhouse sink. And so here's the washer and dryer, again, barely used. The garage in this house is also pretty sick as well. Screened in lanai, preserved. We did pool renderings for it because everybody wants a pool. So you'd have to rearrange all this expensive landscaping and put a pool in. We got it quoted for like $75,000. I've seen pool prices getting back down to normal. Look at all these plantation shutters. They expanded the master bedroom 3-4 feet. They expanded the garage 4 feet. Here's your bathroom. Really nice clean house if you're looking for the standalone tub, everything you can imagine. And then of course, at least $4,000, $5,000 of California closets in the primary as well. Loft area, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. I'm not going to go on about it all night. A great option, but look at this garage, epoxy, all these cabinets included. You couldn't even touch this like a year or 2 ago, and now it's totally available. Here's the pool renderings they designed for it. It's a nice, cute little pool, smaller, but again, for 40-foot lot that goes back 150 to preserve, a great option. So the cool thing about this house is because the folks have moved on to another home, it's just under 2,300 square foot. It's listed at $700,000. The lot size is 47 in the front and 140 feet in the back. This house is in Settlers Landing here in Nocatee. And right now the sellers, because they own it outright, we've decided to market it with seller financing with an introductory rate of 5.99%. That's right. So if current rates are 7%, you can negotiate, okay, with your agent, or you can call me directly. You can negotiate on this house terms to have seller financing, meaning the seller will finance the home for you instead of you getting a loan with the bank. You still have to pre-qualify, but they will finance the loan for you as long as you qualify with an introductory rate of 5.999. And depending on what type of buyer you are and what kind of terms you're looking for, that determines how long you can get those rates for, and then when would they increase or whatnot. You can call me and ask me more information about that. And if you have an agent, make sure you have a qualified, good agent that understands what seller financing is about and how they negotiate it and all the rules around it. But it's going to be a very good opportunity to be in a a home at 6% for the next 5 years, which is a heck of a deal because this home was purchased for more than the asking price. If you look up on Zillow, you can see the history. They paid $720 for it, and they spent another $47,000 in upgrades, including the landscaping, the plantation shutters, the gutters, washer and dryer, refrigerator, screened-in lanai. There's so many things. This is a great deal, and believe it or not, we haven't had as much traffic as I imagined. So this just came out though, the seller financing marketing, and that's what we're doing. We're doing things extra. We're thinking outside the box to get people interested in buying. Deciding, let me see here, take a break here for a second. Pow Show, is that how I'm saying that right? Deciding between purchasing or building in Nocatee or Rivertown, biggest question we have right now is on the build and the typical costs on the structural changes and design center stuff. Okay. Again, I deal with new construction all day here in Nocatee and in Rivertown. So I definitely can go over that stuff with you depending on what you're looking for. Is a typical figure or percent that you would indicate typical on a new build, $675 for a lot and plan 10% over that, $1,520. It's a little bit different. It's a little more complicated than that. If you're deciding to build, you're going to have your lot premium, okay? And then you have your base price of the home, then you have your structural options of the home. So those are 3 pricing right there. And then you have your design center. And I did forget to say one thing. It also depends on the elevation of the home, the frontal look. So there's 5 things there that you have to consider on the pricing of a home. That's why I tell people every day, I can't imagine if you never purchased or built a home before, that's no cost to you to use a real estate professional. I'm not just saying that for my own good to earn business. And really, you really need to have somebody that knows how to guide you through the process, because you should know all the costs up front. You should know what average people spend in design center alone, because that's where builders make their money. You can find out what the cost of flooring is, which is one of your biggest expenses, before you even sign on the dotted line. So make sure you're a real estate professional that's guiding you through this, because you'll know exactly where you should land on your price before you even decide to purchase a home. So please, please, please don't just go in on this by yourself. And remember that the builder sellers, the builders reps are working for the builders, not you. You need to have an advocate on your behalf, and it costs you nothing. They pay the co-bro. So don't go at it on your own. It doesn't make sense. So again, that's a loaded question. There's depending on what you're looking at. But I will say, if there's a quick move in that fits your criteria, look at that, because there are some fantastic incentives for people like that if you don't want to go through the build process. But everybody wants to build their own thing and have their own customized home. I don't blame you. There are options for that as well. A lot of my folks lately have decided to still build, because they're like, hey, we're already going to know what's going to happen with the elections. We're no interest rates are probably going to go down next year, which we don't know. But people are just assuming that. And when the house is ready, we'll deal with it when we deal with it. So that's what some people are doing. And that's okay. I mean, everybody's different. That's your choice. You got to do what works for you. Been watching your channel for a while. We will be reaching out. Really appreciate all of your videos. Thank you. I appreciate that. And people got to understand also, when you do reach out, you text, email, or call me, just realize that I do a screening process. I just need to understand all the stuff that you're trying to achieve ahead of time, so that when we do have those conversations, we're not wasting time, because I don't have a lot of time. There's only one of me. I have one EA that I have a new EA that I hired. And then I also have, I have one other agent that helps out with open houses, design center. We have people that literally go with you to design center. If you haven't watched my video with Brenda, she used to work for the builder. She has a design background. Don't go to the design center by yourself. She was out of town last week. I went with some customers from to Providence Homes, and I talked to them today, and they were like, man, you were so helpful, because it pays to have somebody that knows what they're going through in design center, because you're picking out flooring, big ticket items. You're picking out your cabinets. You're picking out kitchen, bathrooms, flooring, cabinets, countertops, expensive stuff, all the way to faucets, colors of hinges, everything. It's overwhelming. If you haven't done it, It pays to have multiple people there, not just the design center people to guide you from the builder, but it pays to have your own advocate on your behalf that understands what your budget is, what you're trying to achieve, what your look is that you're trying to look at, and then also how are you going to do on a resale. Hi from Ty and Leslie in Colorado. Hey Ty and Leslie, how are you? Good to see you. I haven't heard from you guys in a while. I hope everything's going well in Colorado with the sale of your place. But yeah, so let's go back to these listings really quick. I appreciate all the comments tonight. Thank you for all of you that are not watching the debate tonight. I don't watch the news, so that's why I decided to do this anyway. So thank you for all of you that are on here tonight. And anybody watches the recording, make sure you can put it in the comments. I'll answer any questions, and of course, reach out. All right, let me figure out how to get to my screen here and wrap this up. Okay, my third listing I'm going to talk about is, again, another price point, completely different price point. I'm showing 3 price points tonight. I'm talking about a under $600,000 cute home, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, just under 2,000 square feet, 2-car garage, low maintenance, perfect condition. Don't have to pay for any upgrades. It's already been done. That one's at $589,000. Then we're talking about Settlers Landing in the south end near Settlers Pond near Pine Island Academy. Again, a home that's only 2 years old. Fantastic pricing, well under what was spent on the home just 2 years ago. Also offering seller financing at an introductory rate of 5.99%. And then finally, the third one here we have is a really beautiful large home in one of my favorite communities of 20 Mile, a community that people don't know about. It's in the village of 20 Mile, but it's actually in the back of the village of 20 Mile, and it's actually called The Grove, and it's a killer little community in the back there because it's near the 20 Mile Village pool. They have their own dog parks, and they have their playgrounds, big fields for kids to play on. Really cool vibe there. That's like literally a 2-3 minute walk from this home. It's a 3-car garage. It's on a nice spacious 70-foot lot. It's a David Weekley home, great floor plan. And again, it's around 3,763 square feet. And again, a great opportunity for a family that's downsizing. It's got 4 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, 4.5 bathrooms, massive bonus room upstairs, beautiful loft, screened in lanai. And we just had, we did a price reduction. It was originally listed at $139. Now we're down to $1,289. And we're taking offers, and we're having another open house on Saturday. So if you're trying to get into 20 Mile, which is probably the closest location to the beach, some of the more expensive real estate in Nocatee, with the exception of maybe Coral Ridge down on the southern end, this home is totally negotiable. And these folks have already purchased a new place, so definitely negotiable. Bring your offers. Come to the open house tomorrow. Great opportunity. Let's go ahead and show some photos. It's definitely already been emptied out, getting ready for the move, but it has the pavers as a 3-car garage, awesome courtyard entry, beautiful flooring, all kinds of little upgrades here and there that are certainly just waiting for somebody to make their own. Plenty of little sitting rooms and retreats, tray ceilings, built-ins in the office, just so many cool features. All the things that you don't think of when you're building a new home that you're like, I didn't realize I'm going to be spending so much money on blinds, built-ins, water softeners, all those kind of things. Again, they're halfway moved out, so the home is not completely furnished anymore, but definitely a great option if you're trying to get into 20 Mile, you want to be near a park. One of the closer locations in Nocatee, if you're trying to get to the beach, if you work for Mayo, you're a docker or whatnot, you may not want to be on the southern end of Nocatee because that's an extra 10 minutes just to get out of Nocatee if you're trying to get to Baptist, Mayo. So again, bag drop out of the garage, half bath, guest bath with its own bathroom, nice little laundry room with a sink, definitely a clean slate, full gas stove. Massive island with 1, 2, 3, 4 chairs there, but very nice size island. And what I love about it is big open windows that definitely have a spectacular view with lots of lighting, natural light. I love homes that have big windows with lots of natural lighting. It's really, really important to me. That's what sells houses. But gorgeous countertops. Definitely a great option if you're trying to get into 20 mile. And again, negotiable, totally negotiable. And certainly in the lower price point that we see in 20 mile for sure. Here's the primary bath, tub, shower, big walk-in. And then of course, check out this bonus room, has its own bathroom upstairs, built-in shelving as well. And also the pool table is available, gorgeous pool table if anybody wants to buy a pool table. Here's the screened-in lanai, outdoor kitchen. And again, here we are at $342 a square foot. Some of the new homes that I'm closing on in Coral Ridge are in the 400s. If you've watched any of my videos on luxury that's coming to Nocatee, we're seeing now 450, 600, River Landing, 800 a square foot, depending if you're on the water or near the water. So here I'm talking about are great options that we are using full-on marketing to sell great homes that you really don't have to do a ton for. And, you know, if you're trying to get in the market, there are all kinds of options. It's not just about price, people. It's about negotiating all the terms to find exactly what you're looking for. So definitely some great options depending on what you're looking for. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I appreciate all of you that have been watching tonight. And if you watch the recording, please make sure you go ahead and put comments in here of any questions, or text, call me, email me. My name is Greg DiTullio. I will not be here next week. I am going to take my girls and my family to Yellowstone National Park. It is a bucket list item of ours, so I'm super excited. I still will be reachable via cell phone, email, and text. Believe it or not, I never disconnect. I love my people, especially all my people that are building right now. I will never leave you and desert you, but I do have an agent or two that will be here helping me out while I'm away. So reach out to me, if not next week, the weekend after that, week after that. There's a lot of you that I'll be meeting already in my schedule when I get back. I book out probably at least a week or two in advance. So for all the people that call me 48 hours before you come into town and go, hey, Greg, I've been watching your channel, I need your help. Not cool. Rather be prepared and do all the work up front before you come into town. And of course, if you're looking to sell a property, I certainly, you know, at least would be willing to give you the advice on what I would do if I was listing your property. You have to be very aggressive with pricing right now, very aggressive. And we're hoping in July things will change a little bit. But for everybody's buying out there, again, lots of great options for sure. I had 4 closings this week, so those are certainly people that took advantage of some of the situations that builders are offering as far as incentives. Negotiate it, negotiate. And not all builders are willing to negotiate right now. We put an offer in today and they turned it down, but who cares? We'll do another one. Who cares? Let's just keep going until we get that deal. There's nothing wrong with that. But more importantly, let's find you the house that it's right for you. So thanks again for joining me tonight. Have a great night, and happy house hunting.